You know, I've been watching this sport a long time. And, I don't say that to come off as being condescending to anyone who hasn't watched the sport as long as me. It doesn't mean I know more than any other person out there who hasn't watched the sport as long as me. But the thing is this, because I've watched the sport a long time, it's amazing to me that nothing really fails to amaze me anymore. I mean, I just can't understand some of the craziness that I hear from people, particularly with this Mayweather-McGregor pay-per-view fight that took place last week. People hating on this fight. This potentially is going to break the record for most pay-per-view buys in boxing, and definitely it's going to do that internationally, worldwide, and it's definitely going to break the revenue record or whatever. That's neither here nor there, but the bottom line is this fight brought a huge amount of eyeballs to the sport of boxing. This put boxing in a positive light. This is a win-win for everybody involved, and it's a win-win for the sport. Because you got that other fight coming up with Golovkin and Canelo in a couple weeks, and you have Oscar De La Hoya and his minions, people who are affiliated with him, and people who are somewhat involved in that website that he owns. And those people seem to be, the biggest detractors of this fight. Calling it all sorts of names and saying it's a joke and it's bad for boxing and it's going to hurt the sport of boxing. The only way this fight could have really hurt the sport of boxing is if it was a dud, and it wasn't a dud. I think this fight, because the bar was set so low, it definitely overachieved. For me, it exceeded my expectations. So who's to say that, that 4 million plus who bought this fight and that 6.5 million plus or so estimated who watched this fight internationally, who's to say those MMA fans were probably a great part of those pay-per-view buys? Who's to say a few of them or a good amount of them aren't going to trickle over and buy that Golovkin-Canelo fight? So, all the haters out there, all the detractors, all the people who are acting real salty, they just don't get it, man. They just don't get it. Anytime you're able to put on an event like this and have it attract so many spectators and so many eyeballs to the sport, and possibly, cross over some of these MMA fans to the sport, and watch some of our other big pay-per-views out there, particularly, as I said, this Golovkin-Canelo fight. I think Oscar De La Hoya should be thanking Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor and Dana White and Al Heyman here. I really think they should. And Showtime, let's not forget Steven Espinoza, who did a great job. I mean, this event was perfectly promoted, and everybody was talking about this fight. So I just don't get it, and nothing will ever cease to amaze me in this sport, as I said. And people need to really look at what they're saying and look at the facts for what they are. I mean, this was a successful event, and it was in a sport that these same people who criticized the event, they are affiliated, they have jobs in this sport. So, if you can see the sport do well, regardless if you don't like the event or not, if you can see a successful boxing event get international and mainstream attention, how could you ever complain about that, and why would you ever be mad about that? That's all I got to ask you guys out there. So, all you haters, explain to me why this was bad for the sport, and explain to me why you're hating it. The only reason why I could, see someone hating this is if you're a rival promoter and you're affiliated with a rival promoter, and you're just jealous because it wasn't your promotional company and you weren't involved in it in some way. That's the only reason why I can see anyone hating this event. All right, guys. Till next time, Beep is out. Talk to y'all soon. Peace.